Morning, Jed.
Morning, boss. Ready for the big day?
Decorating this drive for Christmas is one of my favorite days of the year.
This drive and decorating for Christmas makes the year for the whole town.
Then let's get busy. Let's get this drive ready for Christmas. Carol, you're on lights duty.
Check.
Martha, can you reflock the trees?
You bet.
Jane, can you fluff up the fake snow? Jed, is the countdown to Christmas up on the sign yet?
I got the plastic numbers right here.
Fabulous. And how many days is it till Christmas?
364.
Order up.
I know Christmas is a year away, but I'm excited already.
You're right, Martha. There's nothing like Christmas at the drive-in.
I'm just excited for the new TV set we got yesterday. It's about time, Dad. It's 1954 and half the country has a television set.
I guess we just have to figure out if there's anything worth watching.
Hi, welcome to Big Bill's Drive-In, where everything's big except for your bill. I'm not sure I've seen you two in here before.
We're new in town.
Moved to Cornville in the middle of December. Heard about this place, but haven't had a chance to visit yet.
Like the rest of us, it looks like you're taking down your Christmas decorations.
Oh no, we're actually redecorating for Christmas. We keep our decorations up all year. Meet my dad, Big Bill. He started this drive-in over 20 years ago. It's been the hub of the town ever since.
Nice to meet you two.
Christmas all year long, huh? Isn't that your part of your marketing plans?
No, it's just who we are. We like to keep Christmas going all year long. You know, minus all of the good news.
Every year, we tell the story of Jesus' birth. People come to Cornville from all over Cobb County to see it.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Sandra, do you wear a poodle skirt? You bet it is, and it's worth it. Come Christmas Eve, we practice all day. Then we fill up the place and give out free hot chocolate.
Sounds like we don't miss that next year.
Oh, you'll want to be here for that. Excuse me, let me get you a waitress. Jane, I've got a new table for you.
How may I help you?
Let's start with chocolate cake whipped with cream, 2 cherry cokes. Do you have a jukebox? We love the new song, Leader of the Pack. Crashed his bike, coming home to see his baby.
And the hem of my poodle skirt tore a dead man's curb. I just wish Elvis sang it.
Elvis, flash in the pan. No one will remember him in 10 years.
Jukebox is right over there. But we got something even better. Around here, we're big on music. But like our onion rings, it's made in-house.
That's right. All of our wait staff sings the orders. It's kind of like every order comes with a show. favorite. We sell more onion rings than the drugstore sells Brill cream.
How about an order of onion rings to go?
You bet. You're gonna love them.
Our next order up is something to behold. Get yourself ready, here we go. Six chicken fingers, making our meal. I need 4 fries, just to grill. Hold the sauce, make an extra hot. And 5 onion rings. 4 cheeseburgers, 3 small fries, 2 cherry cokes, and a tongue shake with whipped cream. Oh, order up. Our fast food is waiting for you. Whoa, can we hug you, please? Can you believe all of our velocities? It's our favorite love song. Order up.
I don't have. Not during the song segment.
Only 64 days till Christmas, everybody. Let's get hopping.
Dad, look what just came in the mail. It's a letter from the producer of the Rock and Roll TV Christmas special.
The Rock and Roll TV Christmas special?
I entered us in their Christmas at the Drive-In contest. The winner gets to be the location for this year's Christmas special. I sent in 117 daily pictures of our Christmas countdown sign.
Oh, I don't think...
Dad, we won! All of those music stars are coming to our Drive-In.
Wow, Big Bill, what do you think?
I don't know. We always do our Christmas pageant on Christmas Eve. And this letter says this is when the TV special will air.
Maybe we can do both?
Let's do it.
Come on.
I don't see why not. It might even end up drawing an even bigger crowd to hear the big good news. Let's do it.
Yes.
Yay! I'll call the number in the letter. We can't wait to host our TV special.
Welcome to Big Bill's Drive-In. I'm Big Bill. Would you like a booth?
I'd like to get a good look at this place, if you don't mind. I'm the director of the Rock and Roll TV Christmas special. Name's Donna. Mind if me and my crew take in the charm of this establishment?
Dad, the person I just talked to told me the director is already on their way here.
I'm the director. Sounds like you just got the news.
We did. I just opened your letter.
Well, congratulations. What do you think?
We'll do it. This is so exciting.
You are right about this place. Home time charm. Christmas all year long. Sign out front. All the pictures helped.
Thanks.
What do you need, Donna? We're happy to be of service.
We've come to scout the location. You know, get a feel for how about we'll shoot the TV special.
Make yourself at home. Can we get you anything while you work?
We'll be fine. Out of your hair in a bit. Then back to broadcast this to TV sets all over America. About 2 months. Oh, one question. I saw your sign on the way in. Your meal's a musical experience? What's that about?
Just one of the things that makes this place unique. All of our staff sings the orders. Everybody here's got a pretty good voice.
No kidding?
No kidding, the Bells deliver every day, the food and the entertainment.
Who are the Bells?
The Bells are Jane and Martha, our waitresses.
We call them the Bells because they answered the bell 1 ring for Jan, 2 rings for Martha.
Ah, clever.
Martha and Jane, sing something for her. I'd say it's about time for one of our favorites. We've been waiting long enough.
Be glad to. Carol, why don't you sing it with us?
You ought to hear Carol sing, Miss Donna. The voice of an angel.
Oh, I've got too much to do. You two sing it for us.
Yeah, give us some music while we work. Then we'll see you back here in no time.
Put on the track, Jed. We're starting the tree as presents are wrapped and decorations lit. All everyone knows this season is our favorite time of year.
Just can't wait any longer for Christmas to come. Christmas to come. Just can't wait any longer for Christmas to come. rock and roll TV Christmas special. From right in our old town to our old living room TV set.
I sure don't watch Crosby. I just love being Crosby.
I don't think he's on tonight.
Yes, he is. He's just on the other channel. There's two now, you know.
Grandma, there's 3 channels now. 2, 5, and 7.
Can't even keep track anymore.
I got TV dinners for tonight and Jiffy Pop.
I've been looking forward to this for weeks. I don't think I can wait all day.
Rock and roll, huh? Like I say, I just broadcast somebody dragging their fingernails across the chalkboard. It'd be just as amusing.
Come on, Grandma. You're gonna love it.
I'd rather get run over by a reindeer. I want to watch Bing Crosby.
Well, looky here. The TV guide says Bing Crosby is on right after the rock and roll special, so we can watch them both.
All this waiting, it's all I do these days. Waiting for my hair to grow, waiting for my TV dinner, waiting for my Bing Crosby. I guess I have a weight problem.
And start the beginning of the show, the prophecy song.
Hey everyone, today's the big day.
We can't wait.
Did you hear the news?
No, what is it?
Big snowstorm has our talent snowed in at the airport. No flights getting out today.
What are you going to do?
No worries, we routed them. Found a train heading out and was able to get them all on board. Should be here in time.
Whew, that's good to hear. We were just rehearsing for our pageant.
We decided to perform our usual Christmas pageant for the community here at the drive-in, right after your show is broadcasted. I hope you and your crew will stick around after the broadcast and join us.
Oh, thanks for the invitation, Bill. But that sounds like too much Christmas for one night. Hey, maybe we should just televise your little pageant instead of the rock and roll special.
Well, that's not a bad...
Ha! That would be a shocker. The network would have my head for that.
But I tell you, Carol can really sing.
Oh, Dad, don't embarrass me. All right, everyone, prophecy song. Let's run it through from the top.
400 years of silence, wait for what was promised. Messiah King, yet to come. People of God were waiting for a sign from heaven above. Big Bill, I'd like to introduce you to Mrs. Goodman, the producer of the Rock and Roll TV Christmas special.
I'm glad you made it. We heard about the storm.
Are all the music stars with you, Mrs. Goodman?
I'm afraid not. I got in last night and beat the storm, but they've had another setback.
Oh no, what now?
They're turning it into a herd of cows. Literally. It's okay though. We've got a bus heading to pick them up right now. They should make it on time. They're pros. They'll jump right in and just do their thing.
Glad you're here, Mrs. Goodman. They're in the middle of rehearsal for their Christmas pageant.
I've heard about that. Sounds charming. We'll start right after you go off the air. So we're getting on our last minute preparation.
What are you rehearsing?
I think we'll run through the Shepherd song next.
The shepherds were the first people that heard the good news. Where are Frankie and Barbara?
They run the auto shop down the street. They're a little rough, but two of our most faithful customers. Hey everyone, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Can you believe the Rock and Roll TV Christmas special is our opening act?
He's been waiting all night to say that joke.
Talent to talent. Where are the music stars?
They're having a little bit trouble getting here, but should arrive in time. But the director and producer are here. Fancy. Are you guys ready for your number?
Born ready.
What do you mean by that, Frankie?
We are kind of like the real shepherds. We were just minding our own business, living life, doing our jobs. Then one day we were having a burger and onion rings.
Big Bill makes great onion rings.
And Big Bill tells us about Jesus. That Jesus came down here to make it possible for us to have a relationship with God and to forgive us for the life we've been living.
Just by looking at us, you might not believe, but we haven't lived perfect lives.
We was just like those shepherds that went looking for the baby.
But unto you is born this day in the city of David.
It all happened suddenly, a real change in these two. Since then, they've been eating here every day, and a few years ago, they became part of the cast of our pageant.
Surprise!
That's what we shepherds always say about the night that Jesus was born.
What's that?
We were living out in the field, keeping watch over our flocks by night, when suddenly the angel of the Lord appeared before us, and the glory of the Lord shone all around.
Out of the darkness of night, as we lay keeping our sheep, an otherwise peaceful sight, a
Nice work. You all sound really good. I bet you put on a pretty good pageant, Big Bill.
We try to do our best.
I tell you, you ought to hear Carol sing.
She has the voice of an angel.
Every year, Carol sings the opening solo on the nativity moment. Not a dry eye in the place.
I bet it's just lovely. You keep practicing, and who knows? Maybe someday you'll be in one of my productions.
That would be cool.
Maybe.
Aw, you guys, let's get back at it.
1 hour to showtime, everyone. Any news on our travelers from afar, Donna? No news is good news. Green room ready? It is.
Jane and I filled it with everything you asked for. Banana splits, onion rings, eggnog.
And even the extra crispy fries.
Are you all ready to clear the set?
If it's okay with you, we still have one more song to rehearse.
Sure, what is it?
It's a song about our travelers from afar.
You're a wise man.
That's right, Mrs. Goodman. Seeing as most people fill out the nativity with wise men, we bring them in next.
We've got Dad and Jed. Where's our third wise man?
Oh, I forgot I was supposed to ask Jimmy. Oh man, I'm sorry. Do we have to have 3?
Well, the Bible does tell us they brought 3 gifts.
How about you, Mrs. Goodman? You seem to be a pretty wise woman.
I'd be honored, but I'm not sure after the TV special I'll be sticking around. Better get moving, Carol. Time is ticking. I'll tell you what. I'll stay here for rehearsal, and you can look for my replacement.
That's a deal, Mrs. Goodman. Thanks.
So what's my motivation?
You're looking for the one true king born in Bethlehem.
And how am I going to find this king?
You follow the star.
I'm actually looking for a whole busload of stars. They better get here soon, or the network's going to be one silent night.
No, the star in the sky, Mrs. Goodman. God led the wise men from afar with the star in the sky.
Wise men from the east had studied all the signs, and they knew that God's Messiah was to be born. They just needed help finding him, just like we all do.
So God provided a way.
That's what he does.
You see the big star? That star in the sky. You see the big star? It's shining bright. Yes, that big star lighting up the sky. Let's follow that star day and night. We're gonna follow that star. We're gonna trust that God is leading us in the darkest night, no matter where we are. We're gonna follow that. We're gonna follow that star. Got these gifts, 3 gifts we bring. We got these gifts fit for a king. We got golden myrrh and frankincense to bring. We're gonna give him as an offering. We're gonna follow that star. We're gonna trust that God is leading us in the darkest night, no matter where we are. We're gonna follow that. We're gonna follow that star wonder, star light, star with royal beauty bright. Westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. We're gonna follow that star. We're gonna trust that God is leading us in the darkest night, no matter where we are. We're gonna follow that star. We're gonna follow that star. We're gonna trust that God is leading us in the darkest night, no matter where we are. We're gonna follow that. We're gonna follow that star.
Excuse me. The rock and roll special is going to start any minute now.
Bring my Jiffy Pop. Where's my Jiffy Pop?
She's in the kitchen.
What'd you say?
Grandma, you got your hearing aids turned off again.
No, I forgot I had this kind in my ear. Over my hearing aids that I turned off. Now, what'd you say?
I said Mom's in the kitchen.
Please hurry up with my Jiffy Pop. I have to watch rock and roll in a minute, and I cannot do it on an empty stomach.
Here's your Jiffy Pop.
Like the small size.
have bad news and good news and more bad news about the bus.
Oh no!
What is it? A shampoo truck collided with a water tanker and the whole highway went up in suds. Our bus slid right off the road.
That sounds bad.
What's the good news?
Now our talent won't have to stop to wash their hair.
What's the other bad news?
The road is too slick to drive on. They won't get here in time.
Oh
no, what are we gonna do?
Oh no, Donna, I'm so sorry.
I'm finished.
Big Bill's driving. Telephone for you, Mrs. Goodman.
Hello? Yes, we are a go. Looking really good. Yeah, I think you'll love what we've done with it. Great. Talk to you then.
Was that?
That was Note, and we have a choice to make: dead air or a Christmas pageant.
You mean what?
Big Bill, what's the big moment in your pageant?
Well, it's the Nativity. It's when we tell the story of the birth of Jesus, sing for Miller carols. The whole town gets involved. The little kids even get to play the angels and the animals.
Cutest thing you'll ever see.
And Carol sings.
It's the most beautiful moment of the whole night.
Could we put it on the air, Carol?
Are you sure? Donna, what do you think?
I like that choice better than dead air. And I've seen everything you guys have all put together. I think we can do it.
You still need a wise man, Carol?
Nope, just a whole lot of courage.
Get you in a costume, sir.
And I guess I'll work up the courage.
I have no idea where.
Take a deep breath. I think you can do it. The show must go on, Carol.
The show must go on.
We don't have to wait any longer, for Christmas has come, for Christmas has come. We don't have to wait any longer, for Christmas has come, for Christmas has come. In Jesus. And it came to pass in those days that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea to the city of David, which was called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed wife, who was with child.
Her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn.
Shepherds living out in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night, and behold, an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them. And they were greatly afraid. Then an angel said, "Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which will be to all people. For there is born to you in the city of David a Savior who is Christ the Lord, and this will be a sign to you. You will find the baby wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger."
into heaven that the shepherds said to one another, "Let us now go to Bethlehem
and see this thing that has come to pass, which the Lord has made known to us." And they came with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger.
Wow, that was a lot less rock and roll than I expected.
And nothing like the TV guide said it would be, but it was beautiful.
I see you liked it, Grandma. I knew it because I saw you turn on your hearing aids. I did. It wasn't the loud razzle dazzle I thought it would be. It was a real Christmas story. The birth of Jesus, the love of God, goodness and great joy for all people, right there on our TV, from a drive-in. And cut. We're off the air. Yay! You all were amazing. Mrs. Goodman, really, it was a great show.
Big Bill's Drive-In. It's for you, Mrs. Goodman.
Yes? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yes, sir.
So?
Am I finished? Well, they loved it. Yay! I'm so relieved. That was a gamble, Mrs. Goodman. Not as much as you might think. I've been around this business for a long time. What I saw here tonight wasn't just talent. It was talent with heart, combined with a message people need to hear.
That's what I've known for years, Mrs. Goodman.
They said something else. They wanted to know about you, Carol, because you can really sing.
That's what we've been telling you.
I'd like for you to consider something. How would you like to go on the road?
Plane, train, or bus?
Jed. Probably all three, safely. I'd like to start a singing group. With you and Jane and Martha, they're all the rage these days.
Really?
I want to call you Carol and the Bells. I think you'll climb the charts.
What do you think, Dad?
I think it's a great idea. You three have a message the world needs to hear. If you're all back here next year for the time of our Christmas pageant.
Deal! Big Bill, I think we'll all be back here next year with a TV contract for Big Bill's Christmas at the Drive-In, featuring Carol and the Bells. Yeah! I'll get it. Yes? Oh, okay. You bet. That was the network. The phones are lighting up like crazy. They want to cut us back for an encore. Awesome. I can't wait. Keep going.
I think you found another star, Miss Wise Woman. In 3, 2, 1. We are live.
Awesome. The kids The kids did an amazing job, and Nikki did a great job organizing this. Like I said last year, organizing a kids' Christmas program is not something that I would be good at all. When I was a kid, I still like to fish. I don't do it as much as I used to. But when I was a kid, I used to go fishing quite a bit with Dad. And there was times that Dad would take trips into Canada to go fishing. And of course, as a kid, you know, I'm a boy, and I want to go hang out with my dad, and I want to go fishing, and I want to go to Canada and go fishing. So I would beg Dad to let me go on these trips with him. And every year he would say, no, not this year, not this year, not this year. And finally one year, I must have either wore him down or Mom got tired of me begging and begging and said, would you just please take him so I can get a break from him? Or it could have been one of the two. I don't know. You have to ask them. But finally, I begged, and he said, yes, you can go. And so I got to take this really fantastic trip into Canada to go fishing with Dad. And we fished for northern pike, and we went up there with about 6 or 7 other guys. We all loaded up into this van, and it was fantastic. For a little boy, it was awesome. We got to take baths in a lake. I really didn't have to take a bath. And there was no running water. It's fantastic. And I get to fish all week long with my dad. Super awesome. So we start throughout the week, and we fish, and we don't have anything like really super extravagant happen. No really great, big, huge picture fish until this one day. And we go out in the morning, and we have a little bit of mild success first thing in the morning and catch a few northern pike and nothing too big. And we decide to go to another place, and there's 2 guys in the boat with me. There's my dad, and I'm in the middle, and then there's Mark, which is a friend of ours that's driving the motor. And so we're maneuvering around, and we finally get to a place where there's a weed bed in front of us, and we're going to fish there for a little while. Well, all the while we're driving the boat, or they're driving the boat, I'm just kind of waiting. To get to this place, I'm getting everything ready. I'm preparing my reel, I'm preparing my line, I'm preparing my rod, and I'm making sure my lure's tied on nice and tight because I want to be ready when we get to this next spot. This next spot could be the big fish. This next spot could be the time that I'm going to catch this really big fish. So we get there, the boat stops, and this big swirl happens right on top of this weed bed. And you got to know Mark. You've got to know this guy. He teases like nobody else. And so he teases me and prods me. He says, hey, there's a fish out there. You better cast out. You better cast out there right now. And so me being a gullible boy, I'm like, well, sure. So I got everything out. I was all ready, remember. I was prepared and I was ready. And I threw my line out, went over the weed bed, perfect cast, and started reeling back right across that weed bed until it stopped. And I jerked a couple of times and nothing. And I jerked a couple more times and nothing. And Mark looked over and says, good job now, you got your line stuck. He said, I told you shouldn't have cast it over there. And I'm like, well, you told me to cast over there. I give it one more tug, and I feel something tug at the other side. And I pull a little bit harder, and I feel it tug again. And I'm like, guys, I look over at Dad, and I look over at Mark. I'm like, there's a fish on the other end of this line. No, you're just snagged. I'm like, no, there's a fish on the other end of this line. And they're trying to get the boat ready to go to get me unsnagged out of this weed bed. And about the time they're ready to take off, you hear this sound. Zzz. And if most of you have ever been fishing before, that's a really great sound. That means there's another fish. There's a big fish on the other line, on the other end of that line. So for about what seemed like an eternity was probably only like 20 or 30 minutes. As I would reel that fish, draw out probably, I don't know how many yards of line out of that reel. And then I'd reel it back in, and the fish would run it back out again, and I'd reel it back in. And the fish would run it back out, and I'd reel it back in. I was getting tired. The point was to get the fish tired enough so that Dad or Mark could get a net underneath of this fish to bring it out of the boat. A couple of times we got really close, and one of the last times we got the fish up close to the boat, and you could see the fish kind of float to the top. And in my eyes, I couldn't see the tail, and I couldn't see the head. All I saw was this body. And I'm like, this thing's huge. It's a monster. And they're able to get the net underneath of it and pull this big, huge northern pike out. And it looked something like this. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Yeah, that's me. I was cute until I grew up. That was a 42-inch, 18-pound northern pike. Big fish for a little kid. I wish I had some of these pictures. Some of the other fish the guys caught on this trip, we opened up that fish's mouth, stuck those fish inside of it, and then took a picture. You want to talk about being proud? I mean, I caught the big fish. I caught the biggest fish of the trip. But I caught it because we were at the right place at the right time. But not only that, I was prepared and I was ready. One of the lines in the play that Weston uses, he said that we have a message that the world needs to hear. We have a message that the world needs to hear. Let's break that down just for a few minutes. The world. Okay, the message, we know the message. The message is a story about God, what God did for us, that God loves us no matter what, and God can be trusted no matter what. He gave us his son at Christmas time. We celebrate that at Christmas, but really Christmas is all year long, kind of with the drive-through, the whole point of the drive-through. They celebrate Christmas all year long. And we can take Christmas with us all year long. But let's look at the world. When we think about, we have a message the world needs to hear. The world is pretty big, right? I mean, it's the biggest place we know. It's kind of daunting to think about we have a message the world needs to hear. What if we reduce that down a little bit? What if we said, well, what if it's just Crawford County? Seems more manageable, right? I can handle that maybe a little bit easier. I can think about it a little bit easier instead of trying to figure out the world. Well, Crawford County even seems kind of big. Well, what about Bucyrus? Let's take it down even further. What about Bucyrus? Well, that seems a little bit more manageable than the whole entire county. But even that is a little bit daunting. Even that's a little bit big. What if the world was your children? What if the world was your household? You have a message that your world needs to hear. Are you prepared to give it? Are you prepared to answer questions that some of your kids are going to have in a couple of years? And grandparents, you're not out of this. In fact, grandparents, I firmly believe, play a very pivotal role in the life of a child. I'm a product of a grandmother who poured into my life. Grandparents, you're not out of this. You play a pivotal role in those kids' lives. You have a message that your world needs to hear. Are you ready for it? Are you ready to give it? Some of your kids, it's 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. It's really simple now. Things are easy to talk about. When they start wrestling with faith and what faith means, when they start wrestling with what does God mean by this, and why does bad things happen to good people, and they start bringing you really heavy questions, heavy for a preteen, are you ready to have a message for them? Because they're going to come with those questions, and I want you guys to be ready to be able to answer them. You can land a big fish with some really incredible conversations that you get to have with your kids. Conversations that will change their whole trajectory of life. Conversations that will make a difference on whether they make a good decision or a bad decision. You have a message that your world needs to hear. Don't miss that. 2 ways you can do this. 2 ways that I see that have been effective in my life, effective in my kids' lives. The first is pray with and for your spouse. Join your spouse in prayer and ask your spouse, what can I pray with you about? And then pray with and for your children. Every morning when I get up, I pray for my kids. I pray for several things for them. But I pray that God will provide for them a Christian man for a husband. I have daughters. I pray that God will put a hedge of protection around them. And I pray that Jesus always remain the foundation that they stand on. I firmly believe that that's important. And then I pray with them. I make sure that they know how to pray. And they don't like it, but I make them pray in public sometimes. Just because I'm dad. And they're a diller and they have to do it because I said so. The other thing is engaging the Word, reading the Bible. If you want to be informed on how to answer some of those questions, open up the Bible. Open up the Bible and engage the Word genuinely with your spouse and with your kids. You do those two things and you'll be prepared to answer those questions and have those fantastic conversations that will change your kids' lives. You can impact your world, and by doing so, you impact the world. You notice the difference? You see, we think of the world, we think, I want to make a difference in the world. We all want to make a difference in the world. We all want to change it. But this world is too big to think about. Let's just think about our world, your world, my world, our kids. You impact them and you plant seeds into their lives that in 10 or 15 years you will see come to fruition down the road. You want to change the future? Plant the seeds you want to see in the future today. Start putting those habits in your life today. Start putting those things into your kids' life today. And in 10 years, you'll have changed the future. You'll have set some game changers out there into the world who can impact the world because you chose to intentionally impact your world. You have a message that the world needs to hear. You know, if I would have, in the fishing story, if I wouldn't have been prepared, if I wouldn't have been ready, and Dad took me fishing hundreds and hundreds of times before we went to Canada. And all those times was practice, fishing, and all that good stuff. But if I would have practiced and done all that stuff, but yet on the way to that weed bed, had I not been ready, had I been goofing around, doing something, gazing off to the sky, screwing around with my pocket knife, whatever, and we got there, that swirl happened, and I wouldn't have cast, guess what would have happened? No fish. I don't want to see that happen with you and your kids. Make sure you are prepared. Make sure you are ready. No pressure to have that conversation with your kids. And you may not be the one that prays a prayer of salvation with them. That's okay. You may be the right motivation or the right conversation that pushes them in that direction. There are conversations that I had with my grandmother, there are conversations I had with my mom growing up, my dad growing up, that still impact me today. You have a message that your world needs to hear. Bow your heads with me. Ushers, come forward. God, we thank you so much for this season. And Christmas doesn't just impact us at Christmas time. The story of Christmas, the message of Christmas, impacts us in March, it impacts us in July, and it impacts us in August, because it is your plan of salvation working its way throughout our whole entire lives. We thank you that you give us a message that we can give to the world. And while we say the world, it seems daunting, it seems big, let us focus on our kids. Our world can be our kids, and we can prepare them for what you have for them to do. And we can prepare ourselves by digging into your word, by praying with each other, with and for our spouse, and reading the Bible with our spouse and with our kids, and praying with our kids and praying for our kids. And by being intentional about impacting our world, our kids, we will, by default, impact the world. We love you, Jesus. And all God's kids said, amen.